Ladies and gentlemen, here we go into match number 1. This is going to be Jinro versus Softball, and we have a great Terran versus Terran in store for you. Alongside me is going to be Jake Orcs LaRue. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing excellently, man. How are you?
I'm doing great now that I'm with you.
Oh, how sweet of you. It's such a beautiful
there are
day, man.
many songs that were written about us, I do have to say. But I think the number one song that was made for us is probably going to be I Would Do Anything for Love by Meatloaf.
You know, what's the, is it just called Waterfalls, right? The TLC song? I think that would have to be on my side. The thing, you know, travel over any mountain, any,
yeah.
There's not going to be any valleys that are deep enough, man. I don't know what the actual lyrics are, so I'm sounding like a silly person right now, but I think you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Travel across the world.
Seriously, there are so many love songs about our casting.
Yeah, man.
It's ridiculous.
The ones that were in the past, we actually went back in time, showed them our casting. They wrote those love songs just for us, man.
Dude, it was like the Hot Tub Time Machine, except instead of Hot Tub.
Exactly. That's what it was, man. In the middle of that one game, lasted like 2 hours long. We got transported back in time.
Boom, headshot.
Came back with all our StarCraft knowledge.
Dude,
amazing.
I actually thought of that. Okay, so I was like, oh man. And I do this all the time. Even in Brood War I did. I said, oh man, like it'll be 2 years, 3 years down the line. I'm like, if I knew everything I knew at the beginning of StarCraft, I'd be a superstar. I'd destroy everybody.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely.
And I always wish that I could be one day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go back to like the first day in beta.
Yeah.
Like people are just like going out with like little like sentries and baneling busts off one base. You just show up with like 4 bases, battle cruisers showing up like, oh, just win every single tournament.
I know, man.
Just pretend like you're so good. It'd be awesome, man. But you know what? In this game we got right here, we actually already have some differences going on. Look at this. Softball went for the barracks first, whereas actually Jinro went for the gas first. So with that gas first build, he will be able to get that factory up a little bit earlier, but his orbital's going to be a little bit later, and he's not going to have as many Marines earlier on for defense.
Yeah, and for those of you that are at home that are just joining us, we have as the yellow Terran over here, Liquid Jinro spawning in the 3 o'clock position. The 9 o'clock position we have as the red Terran TT Softball. Softball, of course, the Taiwanese superstar, opposite Sen. Of course, Sen, I guess he's like that international superstar, but Softball definitely wants to make his mark.
Well, I'm sure he does. You know, definitely needs to show some awesome results if he wants to gain some, you know, popularity. Although, of course, popularity not necessarily, you know, success, but actually it does tie in quite a lot in the StarCraft scene. But there's our factory, and look at that. Jinro actually throwing down the second gas immediately. So, you know, you think it's possible that he might just be doing some little mid-game or early-game Banshee shenanigans? Or what do you think he's been going for?
Banshees, man. That's what we normally see, Cloak Banshees, as soon as we see a very fast gas. And now, it could be something like a very fast Raven as well, although that's not as common, and it's kind of blind. It is the more defensive route, and don't get me wrong, Ravens are very strong, but, you know, just knowing that Korean style, they love to get that Banshee out super fast. And we do see the first Hellion popping out for Jinro.
Yeah, you can, of course, get that Hellion and then drop down that Tech Lab. Still have enough time to switch it off for the starport. And I like what Jinro's actually doing here. Really minor, but he's leaving this Marine on patrol here at the corner of his base, and that just allows him to watch for any Reapers coming into his base in case that was the strategy Softball was going for. So nice little play, but here come 2 Marines from Softball. Actually, they're just going to go ahead and hold. That's not like a tower, but they might actually be able to see this first Hellion moving out for Jinro.
The Hellion's going to come up here, and little does he know that there are 2 Marines up there. Jinro very fast to react. And he did a good job, I guess. He was able to get 2 shots off, but he did take 60 damage. Nevertheless, it looks like Softball preparing to do some sort of aggression. And as we called it...
There it is. Cloak for the Banshees, man.
We are so good, man.
Already on the way. But you know what? Look at what Softball's doing as well. He also has the starport on, just completed and a Tech Lab on the factory. So I'm waiting. Yes, he is going to switch him out. So both players are going to go for Banshee. So the difference is, since Softball does not have that second gas, he can't afford to get Cloak. So he's only going to have non-Cloak Banshees. And in fact, I think this style... Oh, but the attack going on right at the front, excuse me, for Jinro. He's got to defend here. Does look like he defends pretty successfully. Brings some SCVs as well to repair. You know, he's only probably going to make that 1 Banshee, and might even then switch over to a Viking. That is very common in the Korean style. We'll have to see if it's very similar in the Taiwanese style. Can help you really defend against Banshees and drops from your opponent.
Well, we do know that Softball trains on the Korean server, so he probably has builds in store for him. Additionally, with that Tech Labs on the starport, he will be able to make a Raven as long as he gets the number of gas. We see the second gas is being plopped down. He's getting a reactor on that barrack, so he will be producing mainly mineral heavy units, and what that's going to enable his starport to do is obviously save up for that one Raven, and he will be able to defend against this Banshee, hopefully in time. Oh no, he's going to switch it right now. And here the Banshee comes in.
Yeah, the Banshees see each other right now. Looks like the first Banshee's going to come in, target fire a couple SCVs down. The Marines from Softball are down on the low ground. He needs to bring those back up. He's only got 3 up in the main here. He's definitely going to need all his Marines to take out this Banshee. Unfortunately, doesn't have enough energy to scan right now. He's only at 37 energy. Of course, the Banshee, though, from Softball coming into General space. But look at that. General so smart did make that Viking right after his Banshee, even after going for Cloak. So he's going to be safe, while Softball is actually taking a ton of losses right now. General doing a great job target firing SCVs, trying to build those turrets.
And look at that, the Banshee has so many kills, 14 kills already. There's the big scan, but it's only 2 Marines. It's not going to be that much. He could have probably tanked all that and just killed his opponent. Viking comes out, and it will not be able to kill that Banshee. A great job done by Jinro, just getting out there as her Capitan Banshee. I always call her Senorita Martinez. Yes, I'm glad you know that reference. I'm so happy.
You know what? I think Softball made a big mistake there, man. He scanned literally like 3 seconds before that Viking came out. If he had just waited for that Viking to come out, he might have been able to kill that Banshee. Instead, he allowed it to escape, and it actually escaped with like 1 energy. So it was about to get out of Cloak anyways, but now he's going to be able to send it home. He's repairing it fully. And look at that, Jinro, just in case, has a Raven of his own. Now, both players are going to be on 2 base, but Softball did get his done just a little bit earlier. But I mean, we can see with the 3 mules already active right now in the main for Jinro, it looks like he was just saving up a little bit of energy in case Softball was going for Cloak as well. Now that he knows he's not, he's going to have a ton of income.
Now let's go ahead and look at the income tab. 33 harvesters, 226. So we can see that extra command center does do a little bit for Softball, but the advantage is in Jinro's favor just because now he has equalized with his own command center, and he has that SCV lead. On top of that, we do see an additional 2 factories coming down, so we will see some sort of mech play coming up.
Absolutely.
Jinro.
We see the double gas going down at the natural. That's definitely another indication. We'll probably see the double Tech Lab single reactor. It's going to go for a lot of tanks, a lot of blue from Hellions. Might occasionally mix in, some Thors later on to help with that Viking count. Of course, when you're going for mech, that air superiority is so important. Interesting play, actually. Jinro just leaving that Tech Lab unused in his main and actually putting a reactor on that barracks. So really just wants as many Marines as possible as opposed to going for those upgrades. Meanwhile, Softball is actually going for the more infantry-based style. Look at that. He's now up to 3 barracks. So we're going to get to see yet again the dynamic between mech and infantry.
Yep, and I like something so subtle that Jinro is doing right now. We do see a little bit of Blue Flame Hellion harass. It takes 3 shots to kill a Marine now. But the thing that's so subtle is he's making sure that his barracks is always being used. We can see it's lifting up and down, always making additional add-ons, and that just creates so much efficiency. It's maximizing his ability to always get units out of those factories because they don't have to waste time making those add-ons. He can just switch them off, and he's so efficient.
It's a great way to play when you really take advantage of that. It's one of the advantages of playing Terran, but of course a lot of players don't take advantage of that, so it's great to see that. Actually, looks like a medevac is going to start coming out from Softball once he's no longer supply locked. But that'll of course help him out so much with that infantry, but he doesn't have the reactor on that starport. He is on 3 gas though, so I would have expected him to get that a little bit earlier to start getting those extra medevacs out. If he's going to go for a heavy Marine count or a heavy infantry count, he's definitely going to need as many as possible, not just for jobs, but of course for the healing. But oh no, here come 3 Vikings for Jinro, a Raven and a Banshee, and the 4 blue from Hellions look like they're going to try to run into the main. He doesn't lift up the supply depots. They're running straight through. They're going to go try to kill off a lot of SCVs. There is a tank in place though, doing a ton of damage, and the tank and the 2 Marines look like they're going to take out the rest of the excuse me, oh my god.
Hellions.
Thank you. My brain. Oh, wow. But look at how much damage this Banshee is doing. He's taking out almost taking out that tank. He's taking out all the Marines right now. Of course, there's no detection for Softball right now. He does have a lot of scans available, but he has no anti-air, so he really can't do anything about it. And if he tries to make Vikings, of course, Jinro already has 2 there and that Raven.
There are massive losses being suffered right now. On top of that, Jinro is able to see exactly what his opponent is doing. And a scan goes off, but there's no anti-air to deal with that Banshee, so it's basically the most useless scan possible.
Yeah, I actually just started, laughing because I thought maybe it was like Jinro's scan or something. I was so confused. Yeah, unfortunately, Softball's having a really tough time because I feel like he's a little bit overcommitted to Marauders right now. He just doesn't have enough Marines to deal with these Banshees. And then look at this. Jinro is going to start. He knows he has a huge advantage right now, so not only is he dropping 4 Blue Flame Hellions in the main, but he's also moving his entire army forward for an attack, while he also takes a third, playing so well this game, taking out a ton of SCVs. The workers killed is already up to 18 for Jinro. He's doing an absolutely phenomenal job this game, just taking out so many workers. It's 58 to 35 Harvesters.
And there he goes, just runs away into that medevac. Meanwhile, all the units are starting to mobilize in the front. This is perfect play, being able to outposition his opponent. These 3 Marauders that are actually so close to this one Siege Tank. Siege Tank didn't have a range to see anything, but there's the big Stimmen, and he's going to focus down on those Siege Tanks. It looks like the Marauders will go down, however, but not before taking out every single Siege Tank. Great job by Softball, just holding on a little bit longer, but the damage has already been done all over his base. Look at those supplies orb.
Yeah.
That is quite extreme for only 14, 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it looks like Jinro has taken an absolutely unbelievable lead for this point in the game. The fact that not only he has double the Harvesters of his opponent, not only has he taken out a lot of his army, come forward with these aggressive positionings, but his third is now completing. Softball hasn't even started. Well, no, yes, started his third command center. Excuse me, it's halfway done, but of course he is going to have to float that out. Oh, looks like that medevac will be taken out by that turret. But, I mean, Jinro's in just such a fantastic position. Look at his macro. Look at his natural. He's starting to build up more and more tanks here, and he's actually starting to add on, looks like 2 more factories here. So he's going to go just pure into that mech. Probably will drop the double gas yet again at the third. Yes, he will. And looks like he's actually just going to pull back with that army, wait until he gets that third base economy up and running, get as much of an advantage as he possibly can, and then move forward for the kill wall.
Well, it looks like he's moving forward right now, and I do want to note that Jinro feels so comfortable right now that his third is actually an orbital command center, not a planetary fortress. That just shows you how safe he feels, really. There is a Banshee over here that's doing a little bit, but it has no cloak. Nothing can really do to those Vikings, and the Vikings will take it out very easily. Jinro is starting to mobilize right now, and Softball is in a position where I have no clue what he can do to defend this.
Yeah, he's actually moving forward for the attack right now, but this is definitely not the time that Softball wants to engage in a full-on attack when you're this far behind. Oh no, he's sieging up though. It looks like Jinro's going to move forward with his tank. Hellion's doing a bit of damage, but he's not even sieging his tanks. And Jinro just on attack move, unsieged. He knows he's that far ahead. He can afford to do that. Takes out the entire army from Softball. He only has 1 tank left that he's going to siege on the upper ground. Definitely a great move to try to play defensively here. And actually, Jinro is going to lose a couple of these tanks since they're not supported by Hellions right now. But it doesn't matter. Look how many more tanks are already on the way. His third base is already mining from double gas, whereas Softball still doesn't have his third up and running. And yet again, the income count, 74 Harvesters to 37.
You know what? Jinro's in a position where he has more Harvesters than his opponent has supply. That is a huge advantage in and of itself. 142 to 56. It's just a massive advantage coming in from Jinro right now. Now he's sieging up on his opponent's main. It's so hard to even go out into the natural at this point. And look at this, more units just streaming in, going towards that third base. And Jinro is just unstoppable. Now taking the gold expansion, he's just extending his lead further and further. This is how you play StarCraft 2.
Absolutely. Looks like, oh, here comes the final attack from Softball. He's bringing in a lot of SCVs, but the SCVs are taking too much damage. There's the GG. Game 1 going for Jinro.
And Jinro immediately starting off to a great start today. He is looking so good, taking out Softball so easily. The Blue Flame Hellions and the Cloak Banshees in that beginning stage, just too much, it felt like, to Softball. And Softball crumbled under that early game pressure.
Yeah, you know, I feel like not necessarily the entire game, but almost the entire game came down to that one cloaked Banshee.
Yeah.
You know, Softball, there were 2 minor mistakes there, I feel. First off, generally when you go for that style, at least when the Koreans do it that I see, they get that first Banshee from Softball's perspective. They get that first Banshee, then they get a Viking immediately after the first Banshee, just in case their opponent's going for Vikings, or excuse me, their opponent's going for Banshees, or Medevac drops with Blue Flame Hellions. Unfortunately, he delayed that Viking by quite a bit there. The other mistake was that he was just spending all of his energy on mules immediately. That's just a stage in the game where you have to be aware that it's possible your opponent's going to come at you with Cloak, and you have to prepare for it and wait to use that mule until you're sure they're not going for Cloak.
You know, that's one thing that I was really worried about with Softball. His build actually had no way to deal with Cloak Banshees. And Jinro, walling off like that, he does threaten Cloak Banshees. He basically says, hey, I could potentially go this build. you need to defend against this. But nowhere in Softball's build did he have a way to actually get enough gas for a Raven, or did he keep energy, or did he have engineering bay in time? So I'm not sure. Softball maybe just trying to cut as many corners as possible to get an advantage. Jinro is a very well-known player. Maybe Softball just felt threatened. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I want to see, going into game number 2, what he actually does. We're going to go there. Softball versus Jinro. This is NASL Season number 2, Week 5.